Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Weekly Comic Book Movies with myself and Ashley. Uh,
Hi.
Hello, Ashley.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. I tried watching the Batman again before the show, and I nearly conked out and almost didn't make it. So,
Well, we know if you ever having a hard time going to sleep, Zod, I guess you can just watch
oh
the Batman and
God,
it'll cure you of your
that's
insomnia.
perfect. That's perfect for me. My insomnia goes away immediately. I'm gonna start using that movie as like as like a relaxer,
Yeah.
as like a complete tranquilizer, because it has that effect on me. I put it on. I had it, in full 4K. Was trying to watch it and trying to like. I'm gonna see if maybe I can give this movie another chance. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and then all of a sudden I'm getting drowsy and my eyes are getting droopy. I mean, I know I was tired anyway, but I was like, man, I want to see what everybody thinks of this movie. And we got our good friend Tony Robinson in the chat. What's
Tony,
popping?
my,
What's up,
my
Tony?
dog. That's my
Thank you
dog right
for
there.
being here and sharing your company with Ashley and I as
Yes. Welcome,
we are
welcome.
we are about to talk about a really uh, a
Amazing film.
masterpiece, an amazing film, a movie that I consider to be better than the Batman on almost all levels, and
No.
that is Ang Lee's Hulk. I gotta say, it's a more compelling movie. At least I don't fall asleep every time I try to watch it.
Zod. No, it's no.
the,
It's
the
not
the part
better
the
than the
part where the part
Batman.
where the little kid is playing with his stuffed animals and making all those growling sounds.
So Hulk's out dogs is better than the Batman, guys.
Yes,
You
oh my
heard it here
god,
first.
absolutely. Absolutely better. Oh my god. And it's you know what, and it's more comic-y than the Batman too, because it has all these little like comic book panels throughout the movie.
It does do that. It does, but it's not done effectively, in my opinion. But it does have that cool little element to it, but it's not like I don't think it's not executed.
And we've got the Spider-Man of our fandom, Andrew Casali, in the chat here today, and he says Eric Bana. What what did he say? Oh God, Eric Bana was good. Or are you saying was good? Oh yeah, you're saying was good as Bruce Banner slash the Hulk. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked him in the movie. I just wish that the story was a little bit better. Um, I don't know if it was the director trying to give us a more Eastern manga style
Yeah.
anime inspired Hulk movie versus, and then trying to inject
With horrible
Western elements. Yeah. Mhm.
with dodgy acting
Well,
performances.
because Ang Lee is a horror director. Didn't he direct Freddy versus Jason?
I think so.
I
Let
thought
me
he did. I'm over
look it
here.
up.
I didn't even do my research before the show. I'm like, I,
Yeah,
I don't
we were like
remember.
this movie. Hey,
Yeah, we didn't even watch it. We didn't even
rewatch
watch
this
it.
movie?
Rewatch it in preparation
Nah.
for the movie. No, for the show. That's what it is. It's like in contrast. I rewatched. I don't know. Thor Ragnarok how many times, and I was like, man, I was conditioning myself to like it so that by the time we did the show, I could say, well, it was better than I remember it being.
So did he direct? Let's see.
Because I know he was pretty big at the time because he was because that was around the same time, wasn't it? That movie came out. I want to.
Yeah, it was because it came out like what time? Did it come out like 2003?
Yeah,
Um,
Ang Lee.
so he did direct Life of Pi.
Yeah, let's see. Freddy
I
versus
remember that.
Jason.
Brokeback
So
Mountain, Crouching Gemini Man.
Let's
Don't
see.
see Freddy versus Jason on here.
I'm trying to see who the director was for Freddy versus Jason, because for some reason I thought it was Ang Lee, and I think that's just me being stupid, because I already knew that it was. No, it was directed by Ronnie Yu. I thought for some reason I thought Ang Lee did it. Maybe Ang Lee was involved as a producer or something.
Yeah.
He might have been involved with Freddy versus Jason, but he didn't direct.
Because I was like, I didn't know he directed that movie. That's why I was like.
And Tony Robinson says Ang Lee's Hulk is NyQuil on ice.
It sounds about like
wow. That's a pretty accurate description.
Yeah, Tony is very descriptive.
Let's see. We've got Andrew Casale. Even though my favorite Hulk is Edward Norton, Eric Bana was still good. After Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno, and he says, who is Hulk's first big screen bad guy, Nick Nolte as Bruce's dad, the Absorbing Man. What did you think of Nick Nolte in that movie? I just thought he was smoked up real good on some good booze, and he was able to just do his thing and be Nick Nolte.
Yeah, he was like Nick Nolte he was like Nick Nolte in the movie, and it was just like, I feel like they made him angry without really conveying it properly. He was just like this angry person just to be angry, which I get that he's supposed to be.
So maybe it was just the reverse. Maybe they deprived him of his alcohol, and then that way he just he was, when he was acting anger, it was frustration because he's an alcoholic and he was unable to get his fix for the film. Well, I know he was an alcoholic at one point in his career. I don't know if he was still at that time. And we got Minister Brian Mays in the chat. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. He says, hey, bro. Hey, good to see you, Brian. And we've got Andrew saying, one good thing was the music by Danny Elfman during Bruce's transformation into the Hulk. It was scary. Yeah, it did have a nice score.
Yeah,
I remember it having a nice
I will give it that.
Yeah, I remember. And again, I love the idea of the comic book panels.
Yes,
being,
that was cool.
being thrown in there, because I kind of wish a lot more of these movies would do that, especially a lot of these Marvel films, because it seems like
I don't want it. I mean, I like it like sometimes, but I don't want it like all the time, because then I feel like it would get old really quick.
Well, like a once in a while, like where they would show like a panel, like like not all the time, but like when they're doing something and say it's like a transition from like a big scene to something, just to throw it in there to be cool. Kind of like how at the beginning of every Marvel movie you get the the Marvel Studios logo, and you get all these different characters, and they try to tailor the logo to the movie that they're doing at that particular time. So
I think if they did it with all the animated stuff, I think it would be really cool. Like animated, like if it was like with What If they always like had like comic panels and like the animated stuff, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And Andrew Casale says, even though my favorite Hulk, okay, you said that already, Andrew. I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it, bro. I totally get it, bro. I'm with you, man. I totally get it. But on these kinds of shows, try to read all the comments. So I'll definitely read your comment. You don't have to type it again at all. We're in good shape there. The one of the things that stood out to me that I liked about the movie, where there were all these little subtleties and callbacks to the comic book versions of the Hulk, the earlier comic book versions of the Hulk, from like the 1970s, and then of course the Hulk, TV show, which of course to me is the greatest adaptation of the Hulk that we ever got. just in terms of the fact, not to say that there wasn't hokey or goofy things in that TV show, but I think that TV show was as close to perfect in terms of capturing the struggle that Banner went through with the Hulk, where he actually treated the Hulk like a monster, like a menace, and tried to balance the character out like he did in the comics. And that's something that I always appreciated about that. I always thought that Kenneth Johnson, the creator of that show, did a wonderful job with those stories and trying to put it in for that time period, considering that that's not modern times anymore. But for the time that it was made, I think they did a good job modernizing it. And here, I think Ang Lee is more about style over substance. So you really don't get much. The story is very thinly veiled, and we get a lot of exposition. We get a lot of things that we really don't need to see. And then you get the big fight. You get the big fight at the end.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, is there anything in particular that stands out to you as for this movie? As Ryan here says that Hulk 2003 is an underrated movie. I mean, do you
like it's good, or just are you asking me like good things?
I want to know if there's anything. I want to know if there's anything in the movie for you that stands out that makes it watchable in a way, or there's things that they did. There's some elements that they did in the movie that would carry over well into more modern movies that they're doing now, or if it was
I don't. No, I feel like it's a movie completely out of time. I don't think it ages well at all.
No, it doesn't. I agree. I agree with you. Yeah,
I don't think there's much redeeming or is redeemable about this film. There's like, I would like to see that maybe the comic panels, but it's obviously something that's not like overly done. That's the only thing that I would take away from this movie, like the hulked out dogs, like that horrible Thaddeus Ross. Like I get like him like struggling with the torment and his father's abuse, which is important for Bruce Banner's character, but I don't think it was executed well either here. I think that like they focused on him just being so angry and so vile that it really didn't seem like he was a whole human being, like there was nothing redeemable even slightly. He was just evil for evil's sake.
I agree.
So I really don't think that there's anything that I could carry over that I like about this film. I don't like the way the Hulk looks in this film. I don't like his design. I don't like the color. It feels like kind of like that puke weird green. So for me, there's not much that I can say that I would want to see again from this movie. So that's it. I feel like that's pretty negative, but that's where I'm landing.
So out of as we do on here when we look at these movies based on comic book accuracy. I tend to think that the movie, again, being that it was more style over substance, it wasn't really trying to emulate the comic that much.
No,
but it was trying to sprinkle some comic book elements into it, which I give it credit for, at least.
Like him dealing with his, of course, the anger and his like issues with his father. Other than that, I'm trying to think because I feel bad because I'm trying to remember everything in this movie. I can't really think of much unless you can,
because it's not memorable. You see, that's the whole purpose. The movie itself is a very unmemorable film versus what we've seen before. Now, I could say that, I don't really much care all that much for what they've done with Mark Ruffalo's interpretation of the Hulk for these more modern films. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that Eric Bana's version was
Is an
particularly member,
improvement.
or an improvement or good anyway. If anything, for me, I agree with Andrew Casale, and I prefer Edward Norton as the Hulk
I mean, like
more.
in a sense, like, yeah, you can say that when you put it up against Mark Ruffalo in a way, just because of the evolution of the character. But also that's slightly unfair because Mark Ruffalo didn't get a solo film. So it's hard to like put that when it comes to like an origin or just like a classic solo film situation with him. For me, I didn't have a problem with Mark Ruffalo in Avengers and Agent of Ultron. It's like after that, it seems like the development of the character when it took that shift and it didn't work for me. Like even though in Thor Ragnarok, I was like, okay, so he's was stuck in this um predicament for like for 2 years. He was the Hulk. I didn't mind that, but like once we get into like Infinity War and him, you know, fighting and struggling with the Hulk, and the way that ended up with him being Professor Hulk was not good to me. You know, so I will say that about Mark Ruffalo. But
Yeah.
in the first two Avengers films, I thought he was good.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, and again, I didn't really have a problem. I'm going to say it too. I didn't really have a problem with him in the first two Avengers films either. But I also didn't. I also wasn't trying to compare him to any other iterations either. I was taking him at the face
Yeah.
value that was being provided to us in those Avengers movies, and not really looking at it from any other perspective at that time. But when I look at it now, I have to say that I think that ultimately, from a comic book perspective, I feel like Edward Norton's version is the most accurate.
Oh yeah, he is a lot. He is, but the film I think has a lot of issues still for me.
Mhm.
Edward Norton's
Oh
film.
yeah, oh yeah. Don't get me wrong; they all have issues. This is why. Okay, and this is why again why one of the main reasons why Edward Norton stepped away from the role, because of creative differences. There were a lot of things that he wanted to see done with the character, a lot of smart things, a lot of comic book accurate things that the powers that be at the time just didn't want to do. So I think it's, for me, when I look at this movie in particular, the Eric Bana version, it was like an almost like an artsy start
Yeah.
to the film evolution of the Hulk, and then we get then with Edward Norton, we get a nearly completely comic book accurate version of the character. And then they turned around and took a page out of Eric Bana, where they just decided to do their own thing with with Mark Ruffalo later on. So when you look at the character evolution of the Hulk on film, I feel like
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that. There were certain things they didn't want to do with the character, and maybe that's because I think you had mentioned this last week about there being some rights issues or some things with the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
There's some certain
Yeah.
character elements and things that they cannot do now due to rights or something, so they have to make the character slightly different. That's always the case if they don't have the rights to certain things. Like I think for like Star Trek is a good example. For like Star Trek 2009, I think the movie had to be, I think they said something along the lines of 25% different from what you would normally expect from that type of movie, due to rights and certain things and certain character royalties and certain different things. Same thing with Star Wars. So you get all these different iterations of these characters due to rights and due to having to pay royalties to this person or that person, to this writer, to that writer. So it all kind of comes out, but in the end, that's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, it's just a corporate reality, but it's not a good thing when it comes to stories per se, because now you kind of handicap the ability for the director to tell the story that they want to tell at that point, because now
Yeah.
you're saying, okay, well, the Hulk can't do this, and now we got to make him the professor, and we got to give him this boring attribute that he never had before, and so I don't know. With that being said, I'm looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. I am looking forward to that because again, it looks to me like it's going to be, at least for this show, a more comic book accurate story. Just
Yes. Hi, Raya.
oh,
Raya's
we gotta check in with the chat. See everybody else who's
Sorry, I
in
just
here
saw that
now.
Raya was here.
Oh, Rhea is here. Well, it's always a pleasure seeing Rhea here. In the,
Yes.
good to see you. Good evening, y'all. Hit that like button. Thank you, Rhea, for coming here. It's always great whenever people come and pay attention to our stream that we do here on Fridays. It's
Yes.
fun. It's so nice. And
Yeah.
we've got let's see here. Let's kind of get caught up with what was being said here. Oh, and Marcus Cruz wants to transition to our next topic.
He's already ready for us to transition
for our new topic.
We need a transition, like
yeah, we're gonna
across
do.
the screen.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get us like a comic book transition where like our faces move or something.
Yeah,
And it just
yeah.
transitions. But we'll
Yeah.
get into all that because at some point I want this stream to look a lot more like professional in a way, and there's some things I want, some ideas I have, and I'm gonna hook up with some animators to do some
All
stuff for us,
right.
so we can kind of get it looking a certain way.
You heard
But-
that, guys.
But Marcus Cruz says, Zod and Ashley, thoughts on John Watts leaving as director of Fantastic Four, and we all know who is gonna replace him. Who's gonna replace? Who do you think is
Sam
gonna
Raimi?
replace him?
You think
I
Sam
mean-
Raimi's gonna replace him?
I mean,
I mean, Sam Raimi, I think he's having fun at Marvel. So y'all, I think he's gonna be back for something. Like he like, did you like? I really think that he might be back, but I don't know if that's what he's saying.
Yeah, Marcus, tell me who you think is going to replace him. Who are me and Ashley supposed to think is going to replace him? Because I know, Marcus, that you are really, really hyped for this Fantastic Four movie. You're in all these streams talking about Fantastic Four. We know you want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Gosh.
That's your twosome for this. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking, I just want a good Fantastic Four movie, because to me, like I've always said, the greatest Fantastic Four movie is Roger Corman's unreleased film. I think that's the best version. And
here we go, back to that movie.
Watch it on YouTube for free in full HD, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying.
He loves that movie, guys.
I love it. It is my favorite Marvel movie to date. I am unapologetically in love with that movie. It's Fantastic Four. I mean, come on. Okay, but I don't know. Who would you want to see direct a Fantastic Four movie coming up, Ashley?
I feel like I'm on the spot. I feel like he might be referring to actually John Krasinski possibly directing it.
Possibly directing it, yeah.
Yeah, and starring in it, possibly, because that's like what some people have been speculating about that. But if I had to pick a director for the Fantastic Four film, I know it will not happen. And yes, I'm going back on, MCU directors just because they're good with, teams and several people being in because the director I'm picking from has already been in the MCU. Would be the Russo brothers, just because they're good with action and they're good with, teams and films. And I think that they could execute a good story with action and in a team, just based off their proven MCU record.
I can't argue with that either. But you know what I'd love to see for Fantastic Four? I'd love to see it done as a TV show. I think Fantastic Four would work better as a series than as a movie, because they've done movies so many times and they've failed so many times with Fantastic Four. Can't get it off the ground. Do a Disney Plus show.
The first Fantastic Four film, the first Fox one, I actually like that one. Like, to me, that's a good one.
I've liked them all. I'm gonna confess, I've thought they were good. I even liked the Josh Trank one. I liked them all. I just prefer the Roger Corman one. the most. I think it's the best one. But
I can see with all like the groundwork that you have to lay if we're gonna like say that they're like this team out of time, which is the rumor, and the fact that it being four of them and all the groundwork you have to lay. I can see it working as a television series just because of all the small things, but like again, you can't do a 6 episode, one season, one time, one shot show and then catapult them into the films. Because as much as I like the MCU and as much as I like a lot of these MC shows, like this 6 episode format isn't working. And how the shows are structured, in my opinion.
yeah. And I mean, but there's nothing. The thing is, if they wanted to, there's nothing stopping them from doing like a full season, like a full run, like a full however many
It's a
episodes.
budget. It's a budget. They want the budget for the show is what almost roughly what $150 million, upwards of $150 million. If some
per episode, is that what it is?
Total for the full season.
Oh,
for the seasons for the shows. So if you break that up into 6 episodes, you're able to add a lot more in there, right? You're able with the CGI and with the action and with the superhero suits. Even though, granted, I know you haven't seen enough of Moon Knight, but imagine if that budget, decreases per episode. Even if you lengthen it out, they're going to have to think of a way to be able to structure that because, just because things in Moon Knight, it feels like you're watching a television show. Like Falcon the Winter Soldier, some of the action was muted, but to me, it felt like it was still, on that level with the budget. Certain things were crippled, because of pandemic and because it is a television show. But I feel like you really, at times, feel it with Moon Knight as opposed to with WandaVision and other shows that this is a TV show and that if they lengthen it, how is that going to affect the overall quality of it? Because you see those little hints now. Imagine if they extended out 4 more episodes. How's the budget going to suffer? I mean, 2 more might help. If it's an 8 episode thing, because I feel like there's so many things that they have to tie up with Moon Knight in the next episode. And are you going to be able to do that in 50 minutes? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, I long for the days back when Marvel was allowing Netflix to do the shows, because with Daredevil, you got a full 10 episodes. You got plenty of time to flush that out, and it was entertaining. All these shows had pretty decent season sizes when the shows were on Netflix.
Yeah, but they were also more of like a street level. Like with Daredevil, they're like, it's more like that ground and pound style. So you don't need a lot of that, a lot of that CGI. You can go a lot more practical with a lot of those effects, But with Moon Knight, you have freaking Khonshu. Like, what are you gonna do with that? I mean, there was apparently that show at Netflix that was going to be about Moon Knight. We were talking about that. Someone brought that up, and the way that show was going to be structured did not sound appealing at all. Because they were also going, like, he was going to be Mr. Knight mainly, and like Khonshu was going to be a guy in a voodoo mask from Louisiana, and all these weird things. Like, don't want to see that.
Yeah, who wants to see that? I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. Okay. For example, Moon Knight. I watched the first episode. I thought it was okay. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna watch it all the way through. I don't have anything overly negative to say about it right now. I'm not trying to be too critical. I want to wait.
Just wait
till I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure I will be critical because it is, as a comic book fan, it's hard not to be. But here's the thing. When it comes to Moon Knight, do you think Moon Knight would have benefited more from that Netflix style that we were just talking about, of like a Daredevil style in terms of episodes and stuff?
with the structure of a 10-episode show, yes, absolutely. But the actual Netflix treatment, because they were kind of give it that, it just doesn't sound like, because like they don't do a lot of that. Like I said, again, it's more like a grounded, street level fighter, right?
Right,
Character,
right.
hero. So I don't think that would work.
But Moon Knight does have those elements though.
Yes, he does. He does. But like when I want to, yeah, and especially Mr. Knight and even Moon Knight, like he does have that ground and pound style. But to me, I think, the Egyptian elements and the more godly elements and the more those elements I enjoy more in the transformation into the suit and all of that, you know.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
But with the show, what I don't like, and I'm only going to talk about like certain things that you've seen, obviously.
Right.
I don't like. I didn't like at first, and I will say Steven has grown on me a bit. I did not like the accent. At times, it felt like it was overdone. But
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I don't like that it was so heavily like Steven, here's Steven, here's Steven, here's Steven, but where's Mark, at times, and I'm curious to see as you progress, what do you think about all of that? And then, how they handle some things, just like with the fighting, it gets really old for me. And Khonshu's voice gets really, really bad for me going into the next episode.
So wait, the fighting doesn't get any better. It doesn't improve beyond what
I'm
we
not.
see in season
I'm
1.
not really gonna talk about. I'm not talking about the action. Well, some of it, but I'm talking about the way the styling, what they're doing. For me, it gets
Okay.
really old, and you'll see it like once you've seen like the next few, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, and it was my concern after the first episode, and it continued on. But at times it's effective, but at times it's just like, why are we doing this? Like this whole show. Um, it's like there's good things about it. Oscar Isaacs is like the main thing for me that works.
Yeah, he's where
But
all their money went. You can tell.
But a lot of like some of the other stuff just doesn't work. But the last 2 episodes I've liked them the most. So I will say,
well, that's good. I'm excited.
4 and 5 I really enjoyed. Even though 5 I think was like trying to be like this deeper, like, meaning, like MCU version of like some deep things, and some of like the elements are pretty, deep in nature, like the conversation in the show. Like the overall thing was like, this isn't like Legion or like, you know what I mean? Like it was trying to like have this like cool moment to like say something, and it just felt like kind of generic, but it was still good though, if that makes any sense, without me sounding just like a hater.
No, this is nice.
I
This is
mean,
nice to hear you be so critical of this Marvel show.
This is how I truly feel. Like after episode 3, like I don't know what stream it was. I was like, I'm just really not enjoying it. Like I'm not enjoying this show at all. Like
that type of stuff will get you kicked out of certain streams, Ashley. You better be careful.
Oh. Like it really, like the first episode I enjoyed, right?
Right.
I had some issues, but then the second and the third, I was like,
right. I was with the first episode.
Really
I was like, I could see what they're doing here. This has some promise. Okay, I'll watch the rest of the show.
But then episode 2 introduces a character that I just think like brings down like the show significantly in 2 and 3. And that character, to their credit, there is improved in episode 4. In episode 4 is like really cool, and it's like creepy, and it gives you like it has horror vibes in it. It's just like, there's like, for me anyway, and so it was cool. and like the emotions are are elevated here. In episode 5 is just really just an emotional show episode, and it's like, you know, it's really good. And Oscar Isaac is just like amazing. like he's literally, the fact that he's playing multiple characters and they seem so different, and it doesn't seem like it's the same guy doing both. It's really freaking,
So
he's
it
great.
feels, it starts to feel better, and it doesn't come off like the way that James McAvoy acts in Split, where
No, 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 no,
you
no.
technically are feeling like it's the same guy every time. Like I didn't, like
No.
I kind of thought Moon Knight it's just gonna get. I'm well. I have these expectations because I haven't seen or listened to any of the criticisms aside from what you just
Yeah.
said. That he's gonna improve over time.
Yeah. See,
As the
he's amazing.
as the other personalities, not just
I
the
mean,
main.
he's really Oscar Isaac. Like, there's a lot of scenes where he acts against himself, and they're freaking phenomenal. Like, really, like I can say that there's so many things about the show that should be improved and could have been done handled. You know, just from the story and from other actors in the show. If it could have been stepped up, they deserve to step up just because him alone. Like, he's freaking amazing.
And Minister Brian May says, I do
Nothing
a lot.
bad to say about Oscar Isaac.
Awesome. I do a lot of editing with pictures. I was wondering if I could make something for you. Okay, Brian, I will get back to you on that because I do have some ideas of some animations and transitions and things I want to do with for this show for Ashley and I. So it should be cool. I'll definitely get with you on that. Daniel Martin says Marcus is to the moon with John Krasinski being in MOM. LOL.
Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
die though, guys.
And
Wanda back to killing.
Daniel Martin is speaking my language here. Roger Corman is the blueprint. Exactly.
What?
That Fantastic Four movie is
You guys are nerds.
the blueprint.
Nerds.
The blueprint, yes. I agree about the 6-episode format. I thought it would be great at first, but they just can't get a good balance or feel real invested. Yeah, I don't know. I like I told you, Ashley. I watched all of WandaVision, and I
Yeah.
really didn't have a problem with it because
Yeah.
I went
WandaVision is
into it with very,
amazing.
very low expectations. Okay, I went into it from the mind of a hater, and I said, I am going to sit here and I'm going to
Just
watch
thought it's fun.
every single one of these episodes, and I'm going to give it a chance, and I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to have expectations. I'm not going to look at it from my comic book eye or my hatred for certain elements of the MCU. I'm just going to watch
Oh,
it
look at it.
and try to enjoy it. And that's exactly what I did. I just took it for what it was and didn't come away expecting it to be anything spectacular. And I wasn't disappointed. I just enjoyed it for what it was. And I loved all the homages to Man of Steel in that show. I thought,
Yeah.
my God, there's some really, really great Zack Snyder references
Oh my
in this series. I'm
gosh.
like,
I can't
this is
even with you.
awesome. This is awesome. And then I loved how it established Wanda as a character, so, to the point where now it's actually exciting to see Wanda approaching Doctor Strange for Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, like from what I hear, that she is true blue, truly, truly the villain, guys.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm expecting.
Not like a turn in the end. Like, she's the villain. If
Okay.
that is true, that's amazing.
If they make her,
Like,
if they make her the
if
villain and
there's not,
actually stick to it,
yes, like, and that she's like, and then somehow, hey Belle, thanks.
great
And
to
if
see
like
you, Belle.
somehow like they'll do like a twist on it, like she like says like maybe no more multiverse or whatever she's gonna say, to have everything like converge and be one or whatever's gonna happen. like that she like somehow like loses her memory, and then like Doctor Doom finds her, and then like dun dun dun.
Well,
You
my
know,
thing is,
wouldn't
I
that
want
be
to
so
see.
tight,
My thing
guys?
is, I really want to see. That's a villain that I really want to see in the MCU, Doctor
Yeah,
Doom,
but
and I
I'm saying
really want
like
to see him
Doom
done
finds
well.
her, and then because like they're because of his history with the Scarlet Witch, even though it wasn't technically her, you know what I mean? That would be
Yes,
cool, wouldn't it?
yes, the mind of a hater. Yes, that would be very cool.
In the mind of a hater. I'm
Mhm.
gonna write a song about
See,
it.
that's the whole thing. We can I it wouldn't take much at this point because I already am super hyped up for Multiverse of Madness because I
See,
love Sam Raimi as a director. I think he's
he's
amazing.
growing, guys. Zod is growing. He's
So
starting
I
to like
know,
the MCU.
so I know that this is going to be a good movie because Sam Raimi doesn't make bad movies, with the exception of Spider-Man 3, but that was only
That's
because
not even that bad. I mean,
he
like
was,
it's
and
bad,
it
but it's
wasn't even that bad.
not.
I agree, it wasn't even that bad. But here's the thing: the studio forced him to put a whole bunch of bloated
Yeah,
stuff in Spider-Man 3 that he didn't want to put in there. So you can't really blame him at this point. He didn't want to put Venom in that movie. He wanted that movie to be about he wanted Sandman and New Goblin to be the villains in that movie. He did not want to have that Venom because he felt tacked on, and he doesn't like the Venom character. And I can't say that I blame him, given that we've had two Venom movies
yeah,
outside of all of this, and
so
neither one
bad,
of them have really amounted to anything. So I
so
can't I can't
bad.
I
Like,
can't say that Venom
oh
is
god.
necessarily a good idea either way.
But the fact that you think that okay, this is what I do not understand. Like, okay, so the first Venom, I didn't like it, but I was willing to like give it some benefit of the doubt because I was like, oh, the second one's coming out, Carnage is gonna be in it. It's gonna be so tight. Andy Serkis is directing it. It's gonna be cool. Man, it is so bad. But the fact that you like Morbius more, I can't even like Morbius more than I like Venom 2. And Venom 2 is bad.
Oh, I thought I think Morbius is night and day better than those two Venom movies. My God, those Venom movies are like watching paint dry. It's just it's almost as bad for me as the Batman, for real. I
No,
have to,
at least
when
they
I
have like at least there's some entertainment value,
yeah,
but
well,
not
well, see
much.
that's where it stops. And again, the Venom movies are not going to put you to sleep in the way that the Batman will, with its hypnotic boredom of nothingness that
But
just
Morbius
seeps
will
and
put
goes
you to
on for 3 hours.
sleep.
Oh,
Morbius is
I enjoyed
so
Morbius.
ridiculous.
I
But
enjoyed
Daniel,
Morbius.
you are right. Ashley is slowly wearing Zod down with her MCU trickery. LOL. Yeah, I'm a witch, guys. I'm a witch, right?
Well, listen,
And I've
there's
cast
nothing
my
wrong with
spell.
that.
Boiled oil and snap.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
I've done. That's why he likes Thor Ragnarok, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I
Don't
like it
come around me.
more than I did, that's for sure.
Because if I
Because
catch you slipping.
Daniel Martin, oh man, I totally forgot Andy Serkis directing Venom 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's so bad, isn't it,
horrible
Daniel? Like,
film.
it's
Horrible.
not good. It's ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm. It's whack.
We need to take those movies and just forget that they were made.
Yeah.
The fact that there's even going to be any more. Now,
And they're continuing Craven and then the newest one. Like, really
yeah,
ridiculous.
I mean, okay. I I just think that Morbius has a chance to be
No, no, it
a
doesn't.
well developed character. I mean, I don't know. I just really liked it from a comic book perspective. I thought the movie was great. I really did, and it was quick. It was like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
like
really quick.
you
They cut out so much of that movie. It just like Zod. I don't. To me, like it's so bad. Like it's so bad.
okay, worse than the Hulk. I mean,
No, it's not that bad. No, it's not worse than this. It's not worse than Ang Lee's Hulk.
Okay.
but in the
Okay, we'll see. We'll see that.
no,
I mean, that's since that's the movie that we're talking about today.
yeah,
I gotta
it's not
ask. I
that
gotta say,
bad,
is it worse than Ang Lee's Hulk? Because that's pretty bad.
but it's like,
Style over substance. Um,
yeah,
Ragnarok will be at the top of Zod's comic book movie list at the end of this year. Well, not Ragnarok, but I think that there's some hope for some of these other movies that are coming out that we haven't seen yet. Because again, I'm really, really, and I never thought that I would be hyped for Love and Thunder until I found
yes,
out what
Lord,
storyline they were doing and what direction they were deciding to take it. And if
see,
they actually do follow through with the comic book storyline and give the Jane Foster character some actual character depth, and they actually do it the way that I think that they can do it, I'll be happy with it. So see, I'm going in with a very optimistic view for this movie. So that's the only problem I have with that is then if they don't do that, and then they pull some Marvel, they pull some MCU shenanigans and try to switch it up, then I'm going to be very upset over it, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to be back to hardened hater status at that point, because then I'm going to be really angry. But I think I think there's some potential. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool.
yeah. I hope that they just don't do some whack thing like, where this is after Multiverse of Madness, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, Jane does have cancer and she dies, but here comes this other variant version of Jane who's the Mighty Thor. That would be a cop out. Like they better
Yeah, they can't do that. They can't.
like that would be
Because that's like
horrible.
what they did. That's kind of like what they did when DC did the animated version of Injustice.
Yeah.
Everybody was excited because everybody loves the Injustice storyline. If you're a DC fan, you love Injustice. But then you watch this animated movie, and the way they cop it out at the end, it was just so utterly disappointing. And it's exactly the kind of thing I could see them doing with this Love and Thunder movie, like what you just said right now. And as long as they don't do that, and they actually provide some depth to the character, and Jane Foster dies with meaning and with honor, and it actually makes sense, and it actually builds and actually makes Thor a stronger and better character based on what they've done from the previous films, then hey, I won't have any reason to complain. But I could see them going the cop out route, though. I can see it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
perfectly possible at this point. But that's going to be a fun movie to talk about either way.
Yes. Can't
Uh,
wait. Super excited.
but what is your hype level though at this point for Multiverse of Madness? Because
On a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah,
a 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10
okay, we'll see.
times
Yeah, see
10
you like
times
see you
10
like you
times
like
10 times
Raimi
10.
as a director, so you obviously it's going to be one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I love Doctor Strange and I
yeah,
love Wanda and I love like to me it's like my two favorite characters now in the MCU, like they're the focal point of this movie alone, and then visually, the way the film looks, it looks beautiful, and you can tell it's like a Sam Raimi film, and I like that. I can't wait to see this movie, like the Utopia, outside of like the Supreme Strange, like all of that looks amazing visually. And then like the way that reality is like, melting away, the way it looks like in the What If episode, with if Doctor What if Strange lost his hands and his heart instead of his hands. I thought that that was really cool, so I can't wait to see it. And I really hope, like, I know a lot of people are like excited who's going to be in this movie. Like, to me, I'm more excited to see what's Wanda's story and how's that going to play out and what's Strange going to do in these different versions of both of them. and and of course Illuminati. But I don't want like 1,000 like
I
cameos
just want to know if
in
that
the
boner
movie.
guy, is going to have a cameo in the movie.
I think he's coming back, guys, because like I feel like something else is gonna be up with him, maybe,
Okay.
possibly. Because you remember, because like we never got a true answer, and it just seems like such a throwaway. And maybe it was just like an error, like a writing error. But when they go to the Hex in WandaVision, like in the first episode, they mention that someone that they were chasing ran into the Hex.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it was always kind of like curious about that. But and what else? Who is that
Uh,
character?
yeah, we'll see. Daniel Martin says, I hope they can get that Natalie Portman more invested in the movie. Feels like she's just been checked out throughout the series. I agree. And he says,
Yeah.
maybe not her fault, writing for her character, or I don't know what it is. Yeah, I mean, it could be the writing, because we know Natalie Portman is a good actress. She definitely can act. She's been acting since
Hmm.
she was a child.
Here's the
If you haven't
thing.
seen The Professional, I don't know what to tell you.
I think the thing with her and Chris Hemsworth is the chemistry wasn't there either. But I do know in Thor: The Dark World, once Patty Jenkins left the project, she was no longer happy. She didn't want to be there. I know there was a lot of infighting with Natalie Portman in Thor: The Dark World because she was over it. She didn't want to be a part of the film. She was really there just for contract obligations at that point. She was over it and phoned it in Thor: The Dark World because she didn't want to be there. There was so much fighting going on. But before that, I think in the first film, I think that her and Chris Hemsworth just didn't have the chemistry. But now, and I guess the dust has settled and she's come back. But there was making Thor: The Dark World was not like a good time for her. So, and I think that you saw that also in the film as well.
Yeah, yeah. She's got a lot of well, that's a movie that I don't think that we'll subject ourselves to for a rewatch, because even though I did like
I
For the
hate it
Dark
so
World, you
much.
hate it so much, and I just don't think we could make an entire stream out about it with you
I
hating it
mean,
on
yeah,
the
if you want
level
to hear
that
me
you do.
rant about it for like an hour, guys, I can do that. But
Nah,
it's not really going to be a rant because it's not like I hate it like that. Really, with Thor: The Dark World, what it is for me is that it's absolutely so boring
really.
on a visceral level that it's like you can't like in
I
like
mean,
it's like you don't.
visually, it was a good-looking film. I mean, I don't know how you were bored.
It's like one of the worst things a film can do is bore you, right?
Yeah, I know.
And for
Batman.
me it bored me to tears. There was
Yes.
no I didn't feel like there was a sense of heart in the film. I felt like everything that was happening, with Jane in the ether, I just didn't.
All of your
I
sentiments
understand
right now
the
are
introduction of the ether was cool. It was the one of the Infinity Stones, but it just fell apart in a weak villain, with just like, ooh, evil, I'm bad, like these generic motivations,
yes, Christopher
and just
Eccleston.
and
Yes.
then just like it was just like monotone. There was no there was not much going on.
Okay, so
The
what's a
was
better movie? What's a better movie? Thor: The Dark World or X-Men Apocalypse?
Oh God.
I mean, because when you talk about a one-dimensional villain, I
I
mean,
would say, I mean, probably Thor: The Dark World, but still, it's not like me saying a lot
mm, wow.
because that movie is very, very bad as well. Like it's like
That's why I brought it
cheesy at
up.
times. Like the fact, like the end battle scene, like when Professor X is like frees himself, it's like so freaking cheesy, dude. Like it's like, what are we doing? You know, it's not good. And Apocalypse is just it's not a good character at all. It's just it's a weird film, man. It's weird.
I've actually been rewatching the original X-Men animated series on Disney Plus because I used to love that show, and I've been rewatching it to see if it's as good as I remember. Because then I read that they're reviving that and they're going to do X-Men '97 and continue where that left off. But I don't know. There's some things that I'm not liking that I'm hearing, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to watch it because
He's gonna love it.
I was a massive X-Men animated series fan. So so
Yeah.
I'm just hoping for the best on that. But as far as I agree with you completely about
And
X-Men
what do you
Apocalypse.
feel? How do you feel about Professor X in Multiverse of Madness being that version, supposedly rumored
That's
from the 19 from that X Men animated
from the
cartoon?
movies.
Yeah, yeah,
From
like
the
that he from the
from
cartoon. No, from the 97 X Men cartoon.
he's
That
gonna
he's
be
supposed to be.
he's gonna play that Professor X.
I mean, like if you like his chair is like it looks like the chair from the cartoon.
That's
The
awesome.
rumor that's the
That's
rumor.
awesome. That's what they
That's
need.
the rumor.
That's the Professor X they need to show. That's the Professor X we need to have because I
I mean,
mean,
he's
come
only
on,
going to be in like the movie for
probably
a
like
little
30
bit.
seconds
Yeah, but
using
that'll be
Cerebro.
cool. You know, that'll be cool. Well, he'll be on the Illuminati and like you see his floating chair. You see, you have to, if you haven't seen that trailer, it might be good if you haven't seen it, but like you see the arm of it, of his chair floating in because they say, because
I have to
you
rewatch the
see,
trailer. I must have missed that scene.
it's like after it's the one that came out. Well, it was leaked yesterday accidentally or something.
Okay.
And then they released it today.
Okay. I'll have to rewatch.
Yeah.
I I wasn't even thinking about Professor X, but that's actually I think it's a good thing. I think it's good that Professor X will make some sort of an appearance in Multiverse of Madness. I'm expecting Multiverse of Madness to surprise a lot of people with all the things that they could show.
I can't
All
wait,
the
guys.
I mean, it's going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be the best MCU movie of all time. I mean, I'm just putting it out there because again, you
It
got a
might
director
be.
like Sam Raimi. Okay,
And you have Benedict Cumberbatch.
you have Doctor Strange, which is a fantastic character. So I don't think it could be a bad movie. And like I said, after the last Spider-Man movie, I really feel like this is just this movie has got to come out and has a very high bar. And I think it's going to live up to it. I don't know about anything else that they're doing from the Marvel perspective, but this Multiverse of Madness has got to be great. It has to be for credibility moving forward. Daniel Martin says 90s X-Men, the animated series. That's the Xavier we need. I agree completely. And I'm enjoying my rewatch of the animated series of X-Men. I'm actually surprised that I still like it as much as I did back when it was cool to. What did you think though of X-Men the animated series? Did you like it?
I
Or?
loved it. I loved it. I've been rewatching it
Awesome.
lately. I have to get back into it. But I'm really excited to see it come back to see how they do it. So I'm really excited, you know, to see X-Men content. And I'm like I need to finish like the rewatch because it's been so long since I watched it, you know, but it's freaking amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying my rewatch. It's making me feel like a kid again, and I'm really loving it. I'm enjoying all of the elements, all the little details and nuances, and I'm gonna be ready for whenever the continuation comes out, because I definitely want to see what they do there. I'm also curious as to whether or not they're going to actually keep the same intro, and
Yeah.
they're going to just, because they say allegedly that it's picking up immediately after the
Uh-huh.
finale of the
I heard that too.
show. So if that's the case, I mean, that's awesome news. That's awesome news. Best
Facts.
handled version of Dark Phoenix, yes, yeah, because
Yep.
they tried to do Dark Phoenix. Remember how they tried to do Dark Phoenix as kind of like an anime thing
Yeah.
with that other X-Men, and it was cool and all, but I think the original X-Men animated series handled it all much better anyway.
Yeah.
All of it. It's just, I don't know. I'm hoping we really get to see Cyclops become a villain as they move forward as well. That'll be nice.
Yes.
Hopefully. What are you? I don't know.
I'm
All this
sorry, I just laugh randomly
all
sometimes
this
because
Marvel stuff is going into my
yeah,
brain right
yes,
now. That's what I
absolutely.
thought. That's what I thought you were laughing at, because all of a sudden it's like all just coming out of my nose. It's like all this Marvel lore is just dripping from
Marvel,
my mouth.
guys.
I'm like, oh my god, I gotta stop.
They're gonna be like, "What has she done to his heart?" He's gonna change his name to Thanos, guys.
They really did some of those storylines, like Days of Future Past, so well. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Oh my god, Bishop was such a, oh my god, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff, man. I got green Marvel goo dripping out of every part of my body right now. It's
What would
gross.
be
It's
red?
disgusting.
Red Marvel goo.
What's happening? Red? Oh my god.
Just
Yeah.
Marvel's logo.
Marvel's red. The logo's red, Zod.
Yeah, come on, Zod.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking green because we're talking about the Hulk, but yeah, I as far as this Hulk movie that was the topic of today's show, I just, yeah, there's not
Yeah, it
much
was
to say.
amazing. It's my favorite film of all time, guys.
Of all
Um,
time. Eric,
it's like it speaks to me deep level.
I am I was just gonna bring up, because you were on the Glimmer cast
Yes,
yesterday, and
yes, yes,
you talked about a pretty cool horror movie called X,
yes.
which I happen to enjoy too. And I'm like, I said, while I was watching that, I was sitting there thinking to myself, well, you know what? I'm not too offended that Rhea didn't invite me to this stream, but it's cool. It's cool because you know what? I thought it was cool. It was a fun stream, and it was nice to see, hear so many different different takes on it, because I enjoyed the movie. I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see Pearl,
Mhm.
because she was like, because I remember I saw the trailer for it and I was like, okay, this is cool, and I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, and yeah, so I enjoyed it. Parts of it I was like, um, but I forgot it was an A24 film, like until I like watched it, like
Yeah.
I guess it just like escaped my mind like when I sat down to watch it. But it was good. Like some of the deaths for me was like poor RJ. His is
Oh
like
yeah.
long
Yeah.
and extensive, I was
Yeah,
like, overkill. I was like,
I was
ugh.
sympathizing with Skywalker on that one, because
I didn't
he was like RJ all the way,
know.
like, and I was kind of like, man, RJ, you're the only one
He's
saying
the
that,
man.
dude. I kind of see where
Yeah.
you're coming from, because
No,
you're
I
the
don't
only one
agree with
saying
that
that, because
sentiment
everybody
at
else
all.
don't agree with that sentiment.
I
But
mean, I agree with I agree with partially his stance on like him not wanting his girlfriend to do that. Like I agree,
right, right. I
you know,
mean,
but I didn't agree with like RJ's approach. And then RJ like the whole time be like, this is art. It's fabulous art. We're making art. And then like being like a hypocrite, but like I could understand the emotion that he had, and
The
obviously
emotion,
not
the
wanting that
emotional connection.
to be like something your partner's involved in. Because I would be like, what are we doing? No, what you ain't doing. I would feel the same way, you know. But it was just like the way he just came about things, I guess, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it was a really cool show. I bring it up just because that stream, it was nice, so nice to see the the different perspectives
Yeah,
on
it
that
was fun.
on that movie, because like a lot of people, this is a movie that I think kind of is slipping under people's radar, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't. There's some really good stuff in it. So that's kind of my view there. And Daniel Martin says it was so good we wrapped it up in less than 5 minutes. Ang Lee's Hulk. Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Let's
5
see.
minutes or less. That's how we like to talk about our comic book movies over here.
That's right, because none of these movies are comic book accurate. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. None of them are.
Just a little secret.
They all suck when it comes to comic book accuracy. Total zero. Like you just can't. There's no because these movies are not made to appeal to comic book readers in that way. As a comic book reader, you should just be happy to see these movies coming to life theatrically. That's basically the message that we get when you watch these films.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but be excited. There's Spider-Man on the screen. There's 3 of them. You should be really happy now. So shut up. That's basically what the mentality is there. Daniel Martin says, I do have a soft spot for Sam Elliott, Thunderbolt Ross. Who do you guys think they'll get for the role after the passing of William Hurt?
Oh
That's
gosh, that hurts, because like William Hurt was, to me, was like the standard when it comes to Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just depends on, like, I could see Tommy Lee Jones being able to do if he didn't Tommy Lee Jones it up too much and like kind of, because at times I feel like he's really good and sometimes he's not, that makes any sense. But does he really look like the character? They would have to do like a lot of work to make him look like the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing with him. But the demeanor and everything else, and like the whole Thaddeus Ross swag, I think he could get that down.
Donald Sutherland to play him.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was someone else I just had in mind, and now they escape me. But Donald Sutherland could work. It's just like another one that doesn't look like him, and he's already in the MCU, and his voice is already known, is Josh Brolin, because he kind of has that.
Right? Yeah. Let's just give Josh Brolin another character, as if he doesn't have enough.
Like he's already Thanos, and he's Cable now. And he can be that. He can just like be like the Eddie Murphy of the MCU.
The MCU, yeah. And whenever they lose somebody and they don't have somebody to replace them, they just think, oh, we'll just give it to Josh. He could do it.
Yeah, you need a Bruce Banner. Josh Brolin's got you.
Josh Brolin's got you covered.
You need a Betty Ross.
Actually, to be honest with you, Josh Brolin probably would have been a good Banner. He probably would have been, if you think about it. I think he could have pulled it off. Yeah. Oh my goodness! As a not only that, a Banner, and as the Hulk as well. Wow. Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. That then he wouldn't have had him as Thanos, and I think I would prefer him to stay Thanos.
Who?
That voice.
Yeah.
That voice is like butter, man. He makes Thanos attractive, guys. That voice.
Fighters Evolution. What's up, man? Thanos just has to snap his fingers and he becomes Cable.
Exactly.
There you go. That's perfect. Oh my God. Okay. So you obviously, because you mentioned how great he was as Thanos. Do you think that's his best MCU role, or are you?
I like Cable too.
Yeah, I do too. I thought Cable was awesome.
Just because I like Josh Brolin, so like for me it's like there's not much that I'm not gonna like him in, if that makes any sense.
Daniel
But
Martin.
I like Josh Brolin and I like
Yeah,
him a lot.
yeah. We got a scout for actors for a good scowl for Thaddeus Ross.
I'm telling you, like William Hurt was like
Part of me has to wonder if
so
they went
good.
and they shot all of if they shot all of William Hurt's stuff already
And
for all the
they already
other.
they do have digital scans of all the actors, and
So he'll probably still be able to be used.
so like if I don't know if like ethically and like family and like more, like how they would feel about it, but like the potential for them to do it is there because we've seen them do those things before in film. Now are they going to do that? It might not be in good taste, for that to be done, but they do have digital scans of like
It's almost like I'm expecting at some point to see a digital scan for in the upcoming Black Panther. Okay,
yeah.
okay, it's unavoidable. You've got to at some point you've got to do it, especially when you have a character like that. So having digital scans is a beautiful thing at this point, at least for certain aspects of continuity.
Yeah, but again, they might do it there. It just depends. I know that I think his brother said that he wouldn't have an issue, but we hadn't heard anything like what Chadwick's wife would say. And I
Yeah.
think that I think that they would have to have her blessing for them. I feel like that's especially since they refused to recast, and I don't see them in that situation using it without like the family's blessing because
Oh,
then
of
it just
course they'll get the
doesn't
blessing
make a lot of
to do that,
sense.
sure. But the fact that it was the brother that said that he would have been fine with recasting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said that too because the idea of recasting is you're not disrespecting the actor who played the role before. You're just carrying on the legacy of the character, which is a good thing because actors live and actors die, and you have to be able to continue storylines with characters beyond the lives of the actors. So it's just it's a perfect. I feel like it's a perfectly reasonable thing when it comes to these movies because after all, we are dealing with comic book characters. We are dealing with fictional stories, fictional realities. So you should be able to have multiple actors play different iterations in spite of, the original actors passing away. As unfortunate as that is, it's the reality. So the character shouldn't die simply because the actor does. And that's something that I struggled with too when like for example when Heath Ledger died and then they made The Dark Knight Rises and they made absolutely no reference whatsoever to the Joker at all. There was nothing. It was like the character didn't even really exist. He was never mentioned. He was never referenced. He didn't even. I mean, it was just. To me, I felt like that was wrong. I felt like you could honor the legacy of the actor by continuing with the character. You don't have to pretend like the character didn't exist. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously with this Black Panther sequel, it looks like of course they're going to honor the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. So I mean, I don't know. Boseman was too good to be replaced, to be honest. I think having his sister become the Panther would be a better choice. Well, that's the thing. That's Fighter's Evolution. That's comic book accurate. His sister eventually does take over as the Black Panther. So it just depends on how the writing is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that this version of Shuri, I don't think from everything that I'm seeing that she's actually necessarily going to have the mantle at the end of the film, just because of the situations with Letitia Wright that they the studio might have been having some problems, and apparently Winston Duke might have. I know that he got a pay raise, and his role was substantially upgraded. So there's, the rumor is that he might actually, by the end of the film, have the mantle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Possibly.
Well, we'll
That's just
see.
speculation. Of course, we always kind of throw that's not confirmed or anything, but that's speculation that he might actually be the Black Panther.
So the initial plan was for her to take over, but she
And then everything with the pandemic
and all the goofy crap going on.
Yeah, like
They
just
had
from
changed that.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, and that, like I said, that could be speculation because they could have known that, news cycles are very quick, too.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
That maybe they didn't make that shift, or because, by the time the film releases, that might be like old news. People like that whole controversy might, be a flash in the pan at that point because, the film is still a while away,
Yeah.
and people's shifting thoughts and, about, things that were happening at that time have shifted. So maybe it'll be a non-issue once the film releases, and they're not going to do that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's another movie I'm looking forward to, just out of sheer curiosity at this point as to what the hell they're going to do, because it can go a multitude of different ways. I mean, it's fascinating. But are you looking forward to it? Is it something that you're curious about?
I'm intrigued. I'm curious. To see what they do with the movie. How they handle T'Challa's death. So, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm a little concerned. Is it gonna be a good film? That's what I'm curious about. I am intrigued to see how it's handled, to see Namor, and to see all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm a little worried, but we'll see. It might stand up,
Yeah.
It just seems weird because T'Challa's not going to be in the movie, really.
Yeah.
And I know it's Wakanda forever, and it's like a shift in what the story's about, but it just seems really weird. And I know it's unfortunate because Chadwick, but
is the movie called Black Panther Wakanda Forever, or is it going to just be
it's Wakanda Forever?
It's just going to be called Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I thought it was.
I think so. And let me check it out. Let me check. Let me confirm.
Okay.
100%. I'm pretty sure that it's just Wakanda Forever. There's no Black Panther in the title. But
wow.
Now I'm like second guessing myself. No, it says Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Okay, well, that's what.
Yeah, it does.
So that means Black Panther is still going to be a central character in this film. But I can see.
But when you look at the title, like on the poster, right now it's just the black screen. Like how the Marvel posters are. When they do the title reveals. Yeah. Black Panther is really small.
Right, and Wakanda Forever is huge.
It's huge.
So it's
yeah. So yeah, it does still have it's Black Panther is still in the title.
Yeah. And Daniel Martin says it's definitely is a little touchy. It's a little touchy situation with the passing of Chadwick Boseman. So many people are attached because of what a fantastic person Chadwick was and how he handled himself with the time he had. I agree.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of comics, though. Different stories and variations. And Fighters Evolution totally agrees with Daniel Martin on that. Yeah, that's the title I heard, Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
But it does still say Black Panther.
Black Panther, real small. Like
forever.
that they're trying to basically tell you with that title reveal that his role has been minimized.
They still have the Black Panther in the title. Captain Marvel, she doesn't even have Captain Marvel. The Marvels, it's just Marvels, you know. So I mean, I guess his name's still there, you know.
Yeah, so it's not been removed completely, but that would be something if when the movie comes out, they drop the Black Panther title altogether and they just call it Wakanda Forever. I mean, wow. I don't know. I'm just that's wild. Yeah. Well, that's really all we have to say on the
That's
Hulk. I can't really. I don't really have anything to add on Eric Bana's Hulk movie.
Yeah, it's a fabulous film. Everybody should watch it every
Yeah.
day.
Watch it every day before you start your day. Watch.
It'll get you ready and motivated to conquer the world.
Oh my goodness!
That's what you should do.
Yeah. It was as good as Venom 2. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, just as good as it.
Venom 2, just as good. And I think we're gonna. I think that's about it. You got anything else on Hulk that you wanted to say, or
it's a movie.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Ashley and I will be back with another weekly comic book movies in the future, possibly next week, possibly the week before. I mean, the week after. I don't know.
The week before, next week.
Or next week, or next week, the week after. I don't know. $5 super chat from Fighters Evolution. All I got to say is Wakanda forever. Okay. You've just given me an idea. Do you want to talk about Black Panther next week?
Sure. Well, wait. Shouldn't we talk about? Well, I'm talking about Multiverse of Madness.
Wait. Multiverse of Madness is coming out.
Yeah.
So that's the movie we're talking about. I'm being stupid right now. I'm sorry. I apologize. Next week, we're talking about Multiverse of Madness. We are not talking about anything else. I don't know what I was thinking right now. I still had Eric Bana's Hulk. I still had Eric Bana's Hulk on the brain.
Are you hulking out over there? Is that what's going on?
See, there's all this red goo dripping from my pores right now because I've been so entrenched in Marvel, and it's making
those witchery powers too, you know.
Me itch a little bit, so
I get that red magic too, you know, like Wanda mixed with the Widow. It's red.
You definitely do. I have to agree with you. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Fighters Evolution. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you being here. Next week, we definitely will be talking about Doctor Strange. I am such an idiot. I'm like, you're like, wow.
What is wrong with you, Zoddy?
Black Panther. Well, wait, no, we can talk about Black Panther another week.
Yeah.
You know, that Wakanda Forever had me going though for a second. I'm like,
he was getting all in his feels about Wakanda.
Yeah, I totally was. Yeah, Doctor Strange is coming next week, absolutely. And we're gonna definitely see it. Ashley and I are going to see this movie, and then we will talk. We will be talking all about it. And you're gonna also be doing another stream about it You're gonna be doing another stream about it when?
The very next day.
Oh, so our stream's gonna be that's right, because we're Friday night.
Yeah.
So you'll do another stream about it on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk about Moon Knight, and we'll talk about Multiverse of Madness. And so the first part will be Moon Knight, and then Multiverse of Madness will be the
I'm so thrilled that you and I get to talk about it together first on Friday before you do your big stream on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yes. We're going to be like chilling, having a good time, talking about Multiverse of Madness.
It's going to be a fun movie. It's definitely going to be a fun movie. And we got Daniel Martin here. They just don't want to let us go with another super chat. Gotta stick with the green theme. Great stream, guys. Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate it. Thank you, Fighters Evo. So much to talk about. It's going to be amazing. I have a feeling that that this Multiverse of Madness stream will be mine and Ashley's longest stream together, because we'll probably have a
Yeah.
lot to say, because it'll definitely be a spoiler stream. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we will go in depth.
Spoilers everywhere.
Wow.
You know?
What I kind of feel bad now that we picked such a crappy movie to talk about the week before Multiverse of Madness.
It's okay. It's all
That's
gonna
kind of a
work
good
out.
thing. It's kind of a good thing though, because we know that the next movie is going to be so good.
Yes, it's
Oh,
gonna be amazing.
you're farther along on Moon Knight than I am, Fighters Evo.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first episode, so I got a way to go yet. But I'll probably watch episode 2 after we wrap things up here, because I want to see what all the fuss is about. So, yeah. All right, then. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being here for Weekly Comic Book Movies. Make sure you subscribe to Ashley the Widow. Definitely, her
Yay.
YouTube channel is in the description. If you have already subscribed to Ashley, please make sure you do so. We want to get Ashley to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year.
We're 15 away from 500, guys.
Yes, we are. So it's very, very possible that we can get her there. So.
And I started like making content again in like February, and my goal was, to hopefully get to 500 by May, and May is almost here.
And Fighters Evo is into this. He says there will be a lot of references from WandaVision. I wonder if Scarlet Witch goes bad. Well, we did talk a little bit about that earlier, and the rumor is she's going to be full on bad girl. So we'll see.
Yay!
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you again, and we will be back next week for Multiverse of Madness.